What's up guys, welcome back, and in this video I'd like to make a user dashboard for our e-commerce application. We'll have some basic functionality where the logged in user can edit their profile and also view their past orders. It's been a while since I posted a video to the series, but I told you guys I'll be back, so here I am. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to do is make a menu item here for when the user is logged in. So I want to say something like my account or something like that. So let me log in here. I have a user here, it's just user@user.com, password, and I want it to be right here. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's jump into Sublime, and I think it is in resources, views, partials, menus, main right. So right here, this is the menu items we want if we're not logged in, if we're a guest. So we want it in the else block here. So let me just grab this one and we'll make another one right before it. This is the one for the logout. We'll make it right before logout because that's where we want it. So paste that. Let me just remove all of this stuff. We don't need this. And let's just bring it up. I think we have to close that. Yep. Okay, so let's call it my account. And let's just leave this blank for now. See if it's in the right place. Okay, so there it is. So I want to have just two options for our dashboard. One being the user can edit their profile. So that would be the default when we click on this. And the other one, they can view their existing orders or any of their past orders. So if I was being fancy, I could put a drop down here so they could select it, sort of like in Amazon. So here's my Amazon account. There's a drop down here, or you can just click it. So I'm not going to make a drop down. It's going to make it so you click it and then it will go to the, I think I'll make the edit profile page the default. So let's do that. So let's start with making a route for the my profile page. So the user can edit their profile. And we only want this to happen when the user is logged in. So we'll have to put some middleware there. So let's go ahead and open our routes file. And let's go all the way to the bottom. And let's say, let me just move this up. Okay, so let's make one for be a get request, and it's going to be called my profile, and I'm going to make a users controller, and it's going to go to the edit method, and we'll call it users.edit. Okay, so let's make a controller. So PHP artisan make controller users controller, and let's make it resourceful. Okay, so let's open that up. Users controller. There's actually another users controller here. It's the Voyager one. So this is the one that controls the admin. And this is, we're just going to use this for regular logged in users. So let's go down to the edit method and let's return a view for the profile. So I'm going to make one in a second called my profile, and I'm going to pass in the logged in user, and we'll just say auth user. Okay, let's also save our routes file. So let's go into resources, views, and let's just put it in the root views folder. So yeah, if this were a real project, this would start to get messy. So I'd start separating this out into folders, but it's not too messy yet. So we'll just stick with this. So my profile.blade.php. All right, I'm just going to put some gibberish in here just to see if it works. So back into our nav here, we can fill this out. And this will be, what did I name it? should be in the routes file. Users edit. So users.edit. Oh, and usually you'd have to pass in the ID here, or you can do route model binding. But since we know we're only using this for the logged in user, we're just getting the user from the session. So we don't need this. And we can remove this as well. Okay. And the route should be fine. We're not passing in any parameters there. All right, let's check if this works. Okay. I have my watcher running here, so it auto reloads. So let's see if this works. Okay, so it does. So if we go back into our routes, one thing I forgot to do is wrap this in, or this should only be accessible when the user is logged in. So we can do middleware auth like this. But since I'm going to have a few more routes that have to have middleware auth, I'm going to wrap this in a route group. So let's do route middleware auth and wrap it in a group function. And then we can do this. Let me just put a space here. And then we can just move this up. Now everything in this closure will be wrapped in the auth middleware. Okay. And this should still work because we are logged in. Sorry, forgot a colon. Okay, cool. Okay, so I wanted to sort of look like the shop page because the shop page has a sidebar. So let me just show you. So I want this sidebar to have my profile and then my orders. So let's start with this. And then we'll just change some things around. So shop.blade.php. And let's just copy everything and go to my profile, paste that in, and let's just remove some stuff we don't need. So this will be my profile. And I'll go here. This is the search in the top right. You can take that out if you don't want it, but I'm just going to leave it for the sake of simplicity. And this is the breadcrumbs. This will be my profile. Okay, this is fine. And unfortunately, I named this products section, and this has the CSS necessary for the layout that we want. That goes to show how difficult it is to name CSS. So I'm just going to leave that. But I'd change this if this were a real project to a more generic name. Too bad we're not using Tailwind here. And here's where the sidebar goes. So I'm not going to use a for each here. I'm just going to have 2 items. I would if there were more items, but there's only 2. So I'm just going to hard code both in for now. And this is just going to set the active class if it's active. But like I just said, I'm just going to hard code it. And we'll just leave this blank. And this is going to be my profile. And the other one's going to be my orders. And this one won't be active. Okay. I don't think we need this H3 by category, so take that out. And I think this is just the header, so my profile. And I think this is the sorting. I don't need this. And these are where the products go. I don't think I need this. So let me just see. Profile here. Okay, this is the pagination. We don't need this. And we'll just leave this because this is for the search in the top right. Okay, let's see how this looks. My account. And that looks pretty good. I think this is because of this. Don't need this. Okay, so now I just have to drop a form in here for the user's profile. So I'm going to do this behind the scenes to save time, so you'd have to watch me do CSS, and I'll quickly go over it when I'm done. I'm basically just going to make it look like, Let me just open an incognito tab here, sort of like this, or creating accounts. So the form will look very similar to this because it's the same fields for editing then creating as creating. So yeah, let me just fast forward and I will be back.
A few moments later.
Okay, so here's how the form looks like after I add some CSS. Let me just go over what I did. So I added the form. There's no dynamic parts yet. We'll add that in a second. And the only CSS I added was a new page for my profile. And this is it. There's some duplication here, but I'm not about to make this series about CSS. So let's go ahead and start by adding the fields here when we go on this page. So back to our profile, and here in the value, we have the user being passed in. So we also want it to be populated, say if there's like a validation error. So we'll make use of the old method. So let's do old name if there's a validation message. And then if there isn't, we'll just pass in the user's name. Okay. Sorry. Okay. And same deal for the email address. So right here, old email, user email. Okay, let's see if it populates it. And there it is. Obviously the password we want to leave blank. Okay, so where do we want this to go? So we need to make another route. So let's go to our routes file. Let's make another one right here. And let's also make it go to my profile, but we want it to be a patch request. And let's go to update. And we'll call it users update. Okay. What's this complaining about? Okay, 2 blank lines. Okay. So back into our profile, let's make this go to, what did I name it again? Users update. And in our users controller, let's go here. Again, we don't need the ID because we're just getting that from auth user, from the signed in user. So we can remove that. And let's just die and dump request, the request all, just to see if this is correct. Actually, I have to pass in the CSRF field up here. And I also have to state that it's a patch request. So let's say method patch request, and then let's pass in the CSRF field. And that should work now. All right, let's see if it hits the route. Did that work? Oops, I meant to die and dump this. Okay. Try again. Okay, so there is the request. Okay, so the first thing I want to look at is validation. And this is very similar to registering. So let's take a look at the validation for that. So I'm going to go into app, HTTP controllers, and let's look for the register controller. There it is. There should be some validation in here somewhere, and there is. So I'm just going to grab this. And let's go back into our users controller, and let's just paste it here and see what we can do with it. So I'm going to do a request validate. Let's open the bracket. Okay, so name is good. We can save that. Email is good, but we have to add one thing, which I will look at in a second. And password, we have to change something as well. But let's just see where this gets us for now. Okay, so you can see that the error messages are being passed through. There's some styling issues here, but I'm just going to leave it. Okay, so if you look at this sentence here, usually the way edit profile pages work are if you don't want to change your password, you just leave it blank. And if you do, then you add the password you want. And only then will the validation kick in. So let's fix that. So we have to change the password. So it's not always required. It's only sometimes required. So Laravel has a sometimes rule, which only validates if there's something in there. But in order to use that, we also have to add the nullable rule. And then this should be good now. So let's try it again. That error should be gone. Okay, but we still get this error, which says the email has already been taken, because we have this rule that says we want the user's email to be unique, but we only want it to be unique on other users, not our own. So we have to add one more thing here. We just have to add a comma. We want it to say which field we want to ignore, and then we want to give it the user ID we want to ignore. So in this case, we can do auth. We can do auth user ID, or there's actually a shorthand method for auth ID, which will do the same thing. And now this should pass validation, and it should dump the request. So let's do this, and cool. So yeah, like I said, we have two cases. One case when the password is not filled in, and another case when the password is filled in. So let's take care of those two cases. Let me just comment this out. So let's start with the case where the password is not filled in. So we just have to check the request on the password field. So if not request, there's a filled method which can check which field you want to check. So if the password field is not filled, then we have our first case. So I'm just going to return not filled. And then here's the other case. We don't need an else block because we're early returning here. So let's just return password filled. All right, let's see what we get here. Let's say password. Okay, so let's try this out. So this should be, if I just click this should be password not filled. Okay. And if I fill this out and they're the same, actually it's tested validation. Okay. Let's do password. This should be password filled. Okay, so we have our two cases working. So what's next? So we just have to update based on these cases. So I'm going to grab the user here just to make it a bit easier. And I'm going to grab the input and save it in input variable. And we want request. We want everything except the password and the password confirmation, because we have to encrypt that. So in the case where the password is not filled out, all we have to do is take the user, fill in the input. So the input is everything except the password. So just do input, and all we have to do is save it. So save. And then we can return back with success message. And let's just say profile updated successfully. Okay. But in the case where it is filled out, then we have to encrypt that password. So user password equals bcrypt request password. And then we can do user fill input save. And we can do the same thing here. Let me just remove this, remove these two actually. And let's say, oops, typo, profile and password updated successfully. So that should do it. Okay. If you want to clean this up a bit more, you can extract this to a form request, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, let's just test the two cases, make sure they work. Go back. Okay, let me refresh. Okay, so let's test the first case. We just change something here. Let's change my full name. So this should work. Cool, it does. Let's refresh to make sure, and it does. Cool. And I'm going to change this to password 2. See if that message comes up. Profile and password updated successfully. So let me log out and try to log in again with that new password. user@user.com, password 2. And it works. Cool. Okay, so now let's work on my orders here. So the idea is to click on it and we get a list of our orders. So similarly to how Amazon works, there's a your order section and here are a list of our orders. So let's start by going to our routes and let's add a route for our orders. So route get, let's say my orders, and we're going to make an orders controller and it's going to be index because we're listing out all our orders and say orders.index. So let's go ahead and do that. PHP artisan make controller, orders controller. Let's make it resourceful. Okay. Orders controller. Again, there's one for Voyager here as well, but this one's for the admin, and we know this one's only going to be for logged in users. Okay, so let's just make a new view in here. So let's just say return view my orders, and we'll pass in the orders in a second. Let's just get the view rendering on the page. So let's go down here. I'm going to duplicate my profile and let's duplicate it. Let's call it my orders. Oops, that's the SAS file. Actually, I need that as well, so I might as well do that. Let me just erase everything in here. Where's the view? Right here. Let's duplicate this. And let's call it my orders. Okay. Say my orders. My orders. Oh, this is fine. So we can actually put the routes in here now, and we have to do this for both my orders and my profile. So for my profile, it's users.edit, and for my orders, it's orders.index. Okay, so let's do the same for the my profile page. Where is it? Right here. And then this one. Okay, let's paste that in. Cool. Okay, so let's keep going. My orders. And obviously there's no form here. So let's just remove this. Orders, go here. Okay, let's see if this renders. So let's refresh and let's click this. Okay, cool. And let's see if it goes back. Okay, so I'm just going to dump out what I need here. For example, just the product and the order details. And then after that, I will style it. Well, I won't make you watch me style it, but I'll go over what I did when I styled it. And it's going to look very similar to what we have in Amazon. Okay, so right now, I think I don't have any orders. Let me check. So orders. Okay, I do have some orders from seed data here. And let's see what products are associated with that. Okay, so I do have a few. And I think I have an error here where I don't have an associated user ID. So let me just hard code that in. And let me see for this user. So the ID is 3. And let's put that in our orders. So it's just 3. Or you can just manually paste orders in. Okay. Just so we have some data. Okay, so let's pass in the orders from the controller, orders controller. Okay, so let's grab the orders. So just to recap the relationships we have an order. So an order has many products. Actually, no. A user has many products. So go down here, has many products. Has many orders, sorry. A user has many orders, and an order belongs to a user. Right there, okay. But an order has a many-to-many relationship between products. So order belongs to many products, and products belongs to many orders. So up here, right here. Actually, I didn't define the other way, but because we don't need it. Okay, so let's grab the orders here. So orders is the logged in user, and we can just grab the orders from there. And doing it this way, we'll run into n+1 issues here. I'm not going to go into it too much. I'll probably do a video on this, but it'll work. I'll just show you that it works, and then we'll solve the n+1 issue in a sec. Okay, so let's go to my orders, and let's just dump what we need here. So let's iterate over all the orders. So let's do for each. Orders as order. Sorry, I spelled it wrong. Let's just dump out what we need. So we need the order ID. We need the total price. So I think it's billing total. And I have a helper that formats the price called present price. If you don't remember, it's in helpers. So right here, present price. Cool. And you can display more info about the order here, but I want to display info about each order's products. So remember, orders and products have a many-to-many relationship. So we can do another for each. And order products as product. And let's just grab the information about the product here. So let's say, so product name, say product name, and we want the image. So let's just do an image tag, source equals, will be asset, product image, I believe. And let's say product image. And let me just put a spacer in here so there's no space. And let's see if this works. Undefined variable orders. I don't think I passed it in from the controller. Yes, let's pass it in. With orders. Okay. Okay, so there should be 3 here, and there is. Order ID 1, this is the price, and these are the 2 items in the order. Order ID 2, same deal, 2 items, and same with 3. Cool, so that's working. But let me just show you quickly where the n+1 issue is. So it's right here. already put a comment there, but we have to eager load the relationship here between orders and products, or it's going to continue making queries in here. In here, whenever we do this. And if I had like Laravel debug bar on, you can see the number of queries increase as the products increase. But I don't, and I don't want to make this video about that. Again, I'll probably make a video about this in the future, but let me just show you how to fix it. So we can do something similar. Just duplicate this, and let me just comment this out. But we have to eager load the products here. So to do that, we just have to do user orders. We just have to call the with method and specify the relationship, and that will prevent you from getting n+1 errors. We have to change it to a collection as well. It's to say fix n+1 issues, and we should get the same result, but we no longer have the n+1 issue, and we do get the same result. Okay, so two more things here. I want to make this a link to the product, and I also want another link here that will allow you to drill down to the specific order and see more details of this order. So let's start with that one. So let's make a button for order details. Back into here. Just put it in here somewhere. And let's make a link here. So we have to make that route still. So there's nothing there yet. So order details. Actually, it's put in right now. So it's going to be, I'm going to name it orders.show, and we have to pass in the order ID. So let's pass it in as the second parameter, order ID, and let's make that route and that controller method. So back to our routes. Let's make another one. So yeah, we have to pass in the order ID or the order itself. I'll use route model binding here. So it's going to go to the show method and say orders.show. So let's go into our controller and let's go to the show method. Okay. Oops. Okay, so let's use route model binding here, and we'll do order, and then we import that. And we want to get the products from the order. So we just do order products. And let's return a view called my order, singular, with, let's just pass in the order, and then let's pass in the products. So let's quickly make that as well, and I'm just going to dump out what I need, similar to what we have here. So I'm going to duplicate this and say my order, and just say my order, leave this, and let's put the order ID in here instead of my orders. So we can do order ID, say order ID, and we no longer have to loop over the orders because there's only one, so this will still work. Let's take this one out, and we are already on this page, so we can remove this. We can just leave this, and we can still loop over the products, but we just have to do it like this, and this should still work. Okay, let's see if this works. Save this. Okay. So now this is a link, and it correctly links. Let's see if it goes to that order page. And it does, cool. So this is the details specific to this order, and it shows the two products associated with that order. So same if I go here. Cool. But we have an issue where if we just change the order here and we don't check, then anyone can view anyone's orders, which is not good. So usually I would use Laravel's policies here because it makes for a reusable code, but since it's only in one place, I can just add the check here. So all I have to do is check if the logged in user's ID, so auth, and do the ID method again, does not equal the ID on the order table. So order user ID. So if that's the case, then it doesn't belong to the logged in user. The order doesn't belong to the logged in user. So we can do whatever we like. We can send an error message, or in my case, I'm just going to return back with an error. You do not have access to this. And to show you, so let me take this out for a second to show you. Let me take that out. I'm going to change the ID of one of the orders. So order ID 3, I'm going to change to a different user, 2. So it will no longer show here in my orders. It only show 1 and 2, but I can still change the URL and it will still show me without that check. See? But if I add that check, then, okay, so now it's in the infinite loop. Let me just go back here just to show you. So 3 doesn't show. If I try to go to 3, it will just redirect back to the last page. Cool. Okay, so yeah, all that's left to do is to style this. Everything is already in place. I just got to add some CSS to these 2 pages. And that would take too long, so I'm just going to do it and then fast forward and quickly go over what I did.
A few moments later.
Okay, so let me show you the styled pages here. So here they are. So there's a little box for each order and it shows the products for each order. And you can click into the product if you want. And you can click into the specific order, which will show you more details about this order. So let me just show you. I just took inspiration from Amazon. So if you look at this and you look at Amazon, they're very similar. And then once you drill down into the specific order, you can do this too in Amazon. Then this top part has like the pricing, and I don't have shipping yet. That's why I didn't add shipping. So that's what I did here. Just everything in the orders table, including pricing. And there's some stuff here too. There's a label for invoice, but that doesn't do anything. And then the next box is the products. So there's just one product for this order. So yeah, that's how it's styled. I don't think I have to go over the CSS. If you're that curious, just look at the commit. And it is also somewhat responsive. Again, just a demo app, so I don't sweat the small details as if it were a real app. But I'm pretty happy how this looks, with how this looks actually. Cool. So there you have it, guys. We've managed to create a very basic user dashboard that allows logged in users to either edit their profile or view their orders. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.